Well, hello there and welcome to my channel, A Girl and Her Reptiles. It's been about a year now since I created this channel, and over the past year I haven't posted very many videos. My first exotic animal and pet was actually a dart frog, so you can check out my older videos to see how I set up his first enclosure. I've made a lot of changes over the past year, and I have acquired several new exotic pets. So my goal for 2019 is to introduce you to each of those pets, as well as go over how I created each animal's enclosure. I also have a designated room in my home now. That's the reptile room. I don't really call it the reptile room. I call it my jungle room. And this room is constantly evolving. It was our junk room for about 15 years. So I am glad to really have this room that was kind of wasted space in our home designated for something that I plan on making really the star of our home. I am really modern and contemporary in my styling and my interior design. So I selected the 18 by 18 by 36 black version of the reptibreeze screen enclosure. I did recently acquire a Panther chameleon at a reptile show in my state, so I had to get busy and create his enclosure for him. They also make it in silver, but I wanted black because it matched my overall theme of my home, as well as looked really modern and contemporary alongside my Exoterra glass enclosures that I have in here as well. At some point I'm going to do a jungle room or reptile room tour for you, but for now we're going to focus on my brand new Panther chameleon's screen enclosure that I created for him. Now at the beginning of this video, I think it's fair to warn you that Panther and veiled chameleons are very difficult to maintain and keep alive. And it's a pretty huge chunk of money that you're going to have to invest to keep this guy happy and healthy and thriving. These animals are difficult to keep alive, to be honest with you. They aren't very resilient to sickness. They aren't going to allow you to screw up or be a slacker. If you make a mistake, it can be deadly to these animals. So know what you're getting into and know the risk before you bring one of these animals home with you. I did a ton of research for the past 2 years, and I decided to take the leap of faith and also know that you can do everything correctly, get all of the equipment that they need, and they can still die suddenly on you. So just be warned. And also know their lifespan isn't very long. It's between 3 and 7 years, and that's on a good day. That's if you really get lucky. Okay, so do your research, go to the chameleon forums, and there's a ton of resources out there. So there's absolutely no reason to claim ignorance when you're caring for this animal. Getting started on showing you his enclosure. I did start out with the reptibreeze 18 by 18 by 36, but he's going to get upgraded probably within 6 months to the 24 by 48. That's another expense that you have to consider, is you may have to buy multiple reptibreeze enclosures depending on how small of a chameleon that you get. I am one of those advocates of, don't put them in too big of a tank right away. Put them in the appropriate cage and then build up from there. So he's in the 18 by 18 by 36 to be upgraded when he needs to be. I put a yucca plant in here that I got at Lowe's, along with a sansevieria in the back. Now, when you get one of these screen enclosures, you have to worry about humidity. These animals do like high humidity levels. And you have to worry about water. Where is the water going to go? So I did purchase the reptibreeze appropriate sized 18 by 18 substrate tray. I have no intention of putting substrate in that tray. It's going to be just specifically to hold my water from the overspray and the spray. This is my chameleon here, wondering what the hell I'm doing. I did name him Monet. This is not a formal introductory video, but I named him after the famous painter Claude Monet because he really looked like his colors were painted on him. I also thought Monet sounded very expensive, which he has been so far and continues to be. So he is Monet, my panther chameleon. He's kind of going into a shed, and he's not digging me videoing, so I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. For overspray issues, I didn't want my tank to look kind of tacky with having acrylic cut for it or using shower curtain or plastic. So I did find these aquarium backgrounds at Petco. They are the perfect size, 18 by 36 for this enclosure. I didn't even have to cut them. And they also make them large enough, 24 by 48, to fit the larger size reptibreeze. So I do plan on getting the bigger ones for my next upgraded enclosure. So that's an idea for you. Their form and function, they prettify and make my tank look quite jungly and beautiful. And they also keep the overspray inside. That reptibreeze substrate tray does keep the water in as well. And I also invested in a wet dry vac from Home Depot, another expense that you're going to have to think about. Maintaining this tank really makes it easy now. I just go in there and suck out the water and the poop about every other day or as needed. I did not put anything on this screen because he kind of sleeps over here and likes this open screen over here. And it allows my humidifier to steam to go in there as well, cool mist. That's another expense. I did purchase the Levoit humidifier off of Amazon, and I am really happy with it so far. It does take distilled water, and you do have to clean the thing out once a week with a vinegar and water and let it dry out and then start all over again. So maintenance of these animals, you're not going to be able to be a slacker. You're going to have to really pay attention to what you're doing to keep them healthy and thriving. On top of the tank is their lighting. These lighting fixtures are mandatory. You have to have UVB linear lights. Don't get the CFLs. They are a waste of time and money. Invest in a linear tube fixture. This is the Zoomed ReptiSun T8 fixture. I have a 5.0 UVB bulb in there. Another thing you must consider is always have extra bulbs on hand. That's another expense in keeping this exotic. Is if this bulb goes out, you must replace it immediately. This is a necessity for them to live or they will die without it. I will say I purchased the 5.0, but my new bulb that is on order is a 10.0, and it's just better, guys. It allows the gradient to be bigger to where the UVB goes further down into the enclosure. Also, the enclosure has a lot of highways and byways that I created for them, or for him. They are done with vines and exoteric jungle trees and sticks that I purchased at Michael's. You don't want your chameleon to get depressed in his enclosure, which can also lead to sudden death. So make sure you have lots of highways and byways for him to climb or her to climb, as well as avenues that branch off. And I used that with the jungle trees, the 2 jungle trees by Exoterra in here. Also, you're going to need a dripper, and I did purchase the large Exoterra dripper. I haven't seen him use it yet, but I have it in there just for another water feature. Getting back to the lighting, there is a clamp light up there. That specific model is the Exoterra glow light fixture, and it's just really cool. It's been on the market about 7 or 8 years. You can get it from Josh's Frogs or LLL Reptile. It has glow in the dark paint on the inside, and it just glows a little bit for a little while when I turn the light off at night. There is a 75 watt intense basking spot bulb in there as well, and you've got to have an extra one of those 2 on hand in case it goes out. There is my dripper bottle up there, and basically it drips down there onto that fake leaf that I set up for him to offer him water as well. I have been feeding him hornworms because I have been a little bit paranoid that he's going to get dehydrated. So he has been getting treats with hornworms from my local reptile shop. This is my Panther chameleon and his new enclosure. And for now, we're going to say bye-bye.